Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're going digital, diving into the world of cyber fraud and cryptocurrency security.
Yeah.
You know those crazy stories you hear about crypto heists? Millions, even billions of dollars just vanishing into thin air.
Right.
Makes you wonder just how secure IS this whole digital world. Well, today we're going to find out.
Yeah, it really is fascinating how cybercrime, especially in finance, is constantly evolving, and these big heists have really forced everyone to step up their game when it comes to security.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's kick things off with a story that really grabbed everyone's attention. The Bangladesh bank heist.
Oh, yeah.
Picture this. February 2016, hackers. Millions of dollars. And a trail that leads all the way to casinos in the Philippines. Sounds like something out of a movie, right?
It does, and it was a pretty audacious attack.
Yeah.
They went straight for the Bangladesh bank, got into their account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York,
Whoa.
sent out fake withdrawal requests for a total of $951 million.
Yeah.
$951 million? That's insane. Did they actually manage to get away with all that?
Thankfully, no. A lot of it was recovered, but they did get away with a significant amount.
How much are we talking?
About $81 million.
Still an incredible amount.
Oh, absolutely. And the way they exploited weaknesses in SWIFT, the global financial messaging system really sent shockwaves through the financial world.
Yeah.
It exposed vulnerabilities that most people didn't even know existed.
It's a reminder that even systems that seem completely secure can have weaknesses.
Right, and that everything is connected in global finance.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, you mentioned earlier that this heist, while huge, wasn't the biggest in terms of financial loss.
Yeah, that's right.
So are you telling me there are even bigger heists out there?
Oh, yeah. There are cases that make the Bangladesh bank heist look small.
Okay, I'm all ears. Spill the beans. What's the biggest one you've come across?
Well, it was Mint Gox.
Bangkok's.
Back in 2014, this cryptocurrency exchange was hacked, and over 850,000 Bitcoin were stolen.
Wow.
If you calculate that in today's market,
Yeah.
it's an astronomical amount. That's just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what lessons were learned from Mt. Gox. Did it lead to any changes to prevent similar attacks?
It did. Mt. Gox really exposed some major security gaps in the early days of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
It forced the industry to take a hard look at itself and led to the development of much stronger security protocols.
So from those ashes, new security measures arose.
Exactly. And those measures are still evolving today as new threats emerge.
Like what kind of new threats are we talking about?
Well, take the Ronin network hack in 2022, for example.
Okay.
This one targeted the blockchain network used for the popular game Axie Infinity.
Oh, even gaming is the target now.
Oh, yeah. The hackers made off with over $620 million in cryptocurrency.
It seems like no corner of the digital world is truly safe.
It is a bit of a cat and mouse game.
So where do we go from here? How do we stay ahead in this digital arms race?
Yeah.
I mean, burying our savings in the backyard doesn't seem very practical.
Haha. No, I wouldn't recommend that.
Okay, good.
But there are ways to protect yourself, especially in the world of cryptocurrency. Like what?
Well, that's where a token like Pulse Zen comes in. It's designed with security as a core principle.
Okay, Pulse Zen. I'm intrigued. Now, from what I read, it wasn't entirely clear to me, is Pulse Zen a platform or a token?
That's a great question. It's important to clarify that Pulse Zen, or PZEN, as you'll often see it, is a token, not a platform.
Okay, got it.
And it takes a multi-layered approach to security, addressing some of the very vulnerabilities we've been talking about.
So it's like they learned from those past heists and built in safeguards to prevent them from happening again.
You could say that, and that's what we'll dig into next. The specific features that make Pulse Zen such an interesting case study in crypto security. Exactly one of the key features is its use of an immutable smart contract.
Okay, immutable smart contract. Now, for those of us who aren't exactly blockchain whizzes, what does that mean in plain English?
Sure, so think of it like this. Imagine a vending machine that's programmed to only take a specific type of coin.
Okay.
Once it's set up, you can't change the rules. You
Yeah.
can't trick it into accepting something else.
That's essentially what an immutable smart contract does. Once the code is deployed on the blockchain, it can't be changed, tampered with, or hacked. It just works the way it's supposed to.
So it eliminates that human element, the potential for someone to mess with the code and create vulnerabilities.
Exactly. And that's just one layer of protection. Pulse Zen also leverages decentralization.
Right.
Instead of relying on a single central authority like a bank, it distributes control across a network of computers.
So if one part of the network goes down, the whole system doesn't crash.
Right. It's like having multiple backups It makes it much harder for hackers to gain control or manipulate the system.
Makes sense. So we've got immutable smart contracts and decentralization. That's 2 layers of protection. What else is there?
Well, there's also the pay it forward mechanism, or PIF.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really cool feature where a 2% transaction fee is automatically redistributed to all token holders.
So every time someone buys or sells PZEN, a small portion goes back to everyone holding the token.
Exactly. It's like a built-in reward system.
Interesting. And how is that managed?
It's all handled automatically by a smart contract.
So there's no chance of anyone messing with it.
Right. It ensures transparency, and there's no need for manual intervention.
And speaking of transparency, you mentioned earlier that all transactions are recorded on the blockchain.
Yes. Every single transaction and contract operation is recorded on the blockchain, creating a permanent and verifiable ledger.
So it's all out in the open for anyone to see.
Exactly. It promotes trust and accountability.
Got it. So no shady business going on.
Right. And finally, one of the core principles of PZEN is that users have full control over their tokens.
So unlike with a bank, you're not relying on a third party to keep your assets safe.
Exactly. It's all about self-sovereignty. Users control their own private keys, which are like the passwords to their digital wallets.
Okay.
This takes away the risk associated with centralized exchanges or custodians that could be hacked or compromised.
And it also means if you lose your private keys, you've lost your funds, right?
That's right. There's no forgot password button.
So it's a trade-off. More control, but also more responsibility.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to understand the technology and adopt good security practices.
So Pulse Zen has all these built-in security features, but it's still up to the individual to be smart about security. It's a team effort.
You could say that. It's about combining technology with responsible user behavior.
Okay, so we've talked about how Pulse Zen is designed to be secure, but how does it compare to other tokens or platforms out there? Is it really unique, or are these features becoming more common?
That's a great question, and it's one we'll explore in just a bit.
Okay, so are these security features we've been talking about, are they pretty unique to Pulse Zen, or are we seeing them more and more in the crypto space?
It's a good question, and I'd say it's a bit of both.
How so?
Some features like the immutable smart contracts and decentralization, they're becoming more common, but Pulse Zen really stands out in how it combines and implements them.
So it's not just about having the features, it's about how you use them.
Exactly. And we also have to remember that security is a constantly evolving thing. There's no such thing as 100% security. It's all about staying vigilant, adapting to new threats, and constantly looking for ways to improve.
So even with Pulse Zen, which seems to have a pretty solid security framework, there's still work to be done.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Both for the developers and for the users.
So it's really a shared responsibility then.
It is. And that brings us to a bigger point about cybersecurity in general. It's not just about the tech, but also about the people using it. Even the most secure system can be vulnerable if users don't practice good security habits.
So it's not enough to just choose a token or a platform with good security features.
Right. You have to educate yourself, understand the risks, and be responsible for your own digital safety.
So what kind of things should people be doing?
Well, the basics are important, like using strong passwords, being cautious of phishing scams, and storing your private keys securely.
Preferably offline in a hardware wallet.
Exactly. Those physical devices we talked about. They offer an extra layer of security that's really valuable.
Yeah, and it's not just about protecting your money, but also your personal information and privacy.
That's right. In the digital age, our data is incredibly valuable and we need to protect it.
And the threats are constantly changing too.
Yeah, they're becoming more sophisticated, which is why it's so important to stay informed and adapt our security practices as needed.
So it's a never-ending learning process.
It is, but the more we learn, the better we can navigate this digital landscape.
I think that's a great takeaway for everyone. We've talked about some pretty serious stuff today, from those major cyber heists to the innovative security features of Pulse Zen and how we all need to play a part in keeping our digital lives secure.
It's a lot to consider.
It is. But I hope you've all learned something valuable today. So keep learning, stay safe, and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.